don't think of this as me giving him criticism. More so my input, my creative input. But I am trying to hit 4,000 subs before the end of the week. I need about 500 more people to hit that subscribe button. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's Christmas, man. If we all just come together and agree that we go give me a Christmas present and hitting that subscribe button, I appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button for your boy. Hit the subscribe button. Now, Tony Khan, the other day, it came, for some reason, he decided that, you know what AEW doesn't have enough of? You know what we are lacking in AEW? Titles. Just when he let one go, he brings in a new one. And I know I've heard the criticism. I've heard the defense of AEW having just as many as WWE, but that's just not true. You know, WWE has the main roster. If we're talking the main roster, you can't compare it because the NXT title isn't being defended most nights. The AEW title isn't being defended by somebody who's on the main roster. You know, I think Eddie Kingston is the ROH World Champion. That's equivalent to like the Miz being the NXT World Champion. You know, it's just like, no. So you got to group them all in. You can't do the same with NXT. You know, it's two different. NXT is still very much a different brand. It's still very much developmental. When people talk about Braun Breaker and being on the main roster, it's called being called up. Now people go down there, you know, such as the John Cena's, the Becky Lynch's, and work with those guys, or, you know, make an appearance with those guys, but that's not them being on that roster. The NXT roster is different from the AEW. The NXT roster is different from the Raw roster, the SmackDown roster. The AEW and ROH roster is very much entwined, excluding some, you know, some key pieces, some key people, such as Athena. You know, you won't necessarily see her on the main roster or the AEW roster. I hope I've explained that enough, because that defense is just a terrible one. AEW has way too many wrestlers. I mean, not wrestlers. Well, maybe they do have too many wrestlers. They definitely got too many titles, though. There's every AEW title, there's at least two of them, and also another one for ROH. I just don't get it. The booking is everywhere. I would get rid of the titles. I would make ROH your NXT, because that's what ROH was before NXT. ROH was basically NXT before NXT. That's where Bryan Danielson cut his teeth. That's where CM Punk cut his teeth. Seth Rollins. And just like, you know, and some guys, when they left WWE, they would go back there and, you know, get better. That's what ROH was NXT before NXT. So just make it your version of NXT. Make it your version of the development brand. You bring in some guys. That's what William Regal would have been great at. Bring in some vets. Have them learn the way. I mean, I know AEW doesn't really have a way of working except high spots and, you know, dangerous stuff. But, you know, it starts there. Start training these people. Maybe Jay would have, you know, stayed if there was some development. You know, you lost AEW Dark. You lost AEW Elevation, Dark Elevation or whatever. Make ROH that. They don't need more titles. I mean, if it's going to be that, I don't have a problem with it, because it's a women's world title. I don't have a problem with it. But if you're going to do that, have them stay there. Separate the rosters. You don't need Bryan Danielson and Mark Briscoe wrestling on the pay-per-view. They don't need pay-per-view. Well, for the most part, they don't need pay-per-views, I guess. But I don't know. It's just again. Don't look at it as don't look at it as me hating or whatever, but it's just because I want to see if I didn't want to see AEW succeed, I wouldn't be giving suggestions. You know, I wouldn't be saying what they should do. But no, I'm not saying anything, you know, creative or nothing. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. Just make ROH your NXT, because again, it was NXT before NXT. So it's not that hard. It's just not that hard. I feel like Tony Khan has a habit, and making things more difficult than it needs to be, whether it was the CM Punk and the Elite situation, whether it's how he books his wrestlers, and now has how he books things in general. Just makes way harder than it need to be. I don't know. It makes it hard. It makes it hard to be a fan, man. But I am trying to hit 4,000 subs before the end of the week. Hit that subscribe button for your boy. Have a beautiful night. Happy holidays. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments as well. Sub to Ike. Peace. Peace.